Hello, 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 everyone. I have an amazing guest for you. And oh my God, I love your studio, I have to say. I have got is it Nicola Delgado Severston, or how do you like to be?
I'm known as Nicola F. Delgado. That's my maiden name. That's my acting name. I have another name legally. But
Okay, so Nicola
yeah,
F. Delgado, the
yeah.
most stylish audiobook narrator I know. And I my sense of aesthetics recognized you instantly, Nicola, because over the last few years, I've been dying to have this conversation with you because over the last few years, there's been a lot of the news and the world and I get it. I do get it. But then if you layer in AI and new people and we're all suffering and I get that people need to bond through suffering. And then there's Nicola sending me messages with gorgeously colored pink front door knockers and
Yeah.
things and the important things in life, right? Little moments of joy. And I've never known another person that you seem, I always feel that I gain energy from moments of joy and beauty, little things that other people consider shallow. And you, more than anyone I've ever met, get that. You're always looking for the joy or the beauty. And it's just lovely and delightful to be around. And it comes through in your voice when you talk, which I'm sure is why you're so good at your job, because it's you share joy. You're
Oh, thank you.
seeking it and you share it. So tell me about 10-year-old Nicola. Was she like that? Where were you living? What were you doing? Tell me about
Oh, 10-year-old Nicola. Let's see. I was going to a little tiny school in Wolverhampton, called Parkdale. And my parents worked in the town in Wolverhampton, but we lived in Stafford, and which is, I don't know how far, but up the road, down the
yeah.
lane, round the corner. Um, and I'd been having a hard time at the other school I was at, and Parkdale I went to. And the one thing about Parkdale is when you went in, it was all of these kids of just various backgrounds, and a lot of immigrants kids were there.
Oh, I love
So
that.
for me, I felt like I just kind of fit right in. So there wasn't the school I'd been at previously was Stafford was a much smaller community, like a smaller community, so less
Suburban,
cosmo.
isn't it?
It's just like a small potting town, kind of like where they did a lot of pottery and stuff. But Wolverhampton was more like a little bit more metropolitan, even though it's not a huge city like Birmingham, it was still a little bit more, lot more immigrants and different people of different backgrounds. And so I was at Parkdale, and I became a big fish in a tiny pond and felt really important for a couple of years until I went to senior school. Yeah.
I love so were you a happy 10-year-old? Did you have
Yeah, I
passions?
think I was. Yeah, there's a lot of playing marbles and conkers, and you know,
What is
helping
conkers again?
conkers in the fall, what Americans call the fall, autumn. Um, the chestnut trees would drop horse chestnuts, right? Those big,
Yeah, they look like
they're
acorns, kind of.
well, kind of the outside of them is like green and thorny. And when they're finally ripe, they drop and they kind of break open to let the seed out. And inside is a shiny, shiny, very pretty wooden looking seed that's about so big. And we used to go home and used to get a nail and hammer through the conker, and then put a string or a shoelace usually through the bottom of the conker and tie a knot. And then the idea is you go back to school the next day and you try and you like hit each other's conkers. You like one person holds it, the other person tries to hit it, and then they smash open. Like whoever's breaks. So the whole idea is to get the biggest, strongest, baddest conker to knock out somebody else's conker. But I mean, that's what I did when I was 10. It was marbles and conkers and jump rope and like, yeah, that was kind of
The halcyon days. I like that though.
yeah, yeah. Well, UK in the I guess that was the end of the 70s, early 80s.
Did you have big dreams about, were you a when I grow up kid or were you a live in the moment kid?
Oh, I was definitely when I grow up kid.
What did you
I
want to be
wanted to
when
be
you were?
I wanted to be a ballerina at the British Ballet.
I love that. I wanted to be a ballerina, but everyone told me I was awful. Did you
Oh
take
no.
ballet class? They did.
Yeah,
They
I
told me
was
I was awful.
oh,
Were you
that's
good?
horrible. I don't know if I was good. I know that I was very into it and I was studying to go and then to go audition. And then my teacher died. And I went to a new teacher and I came away going, I hate it. I can't. And I refused to go back.
Part of that
And
probably the first experience being around.
it was just a very different vibe. Like she was a different style of teacher and very, I went, if anybody is familiar with Wolverhampton at the time, I went to Vera Hildreth's School of Dance. And she was like this tiny, weeny, itsy bitsy woman who even when I was like 13 or so, she was probably to my shoulder. Like she was tiny. And
Oh,
she used to knit her own like pantsuit kind of thing, like exercise gear. So she had all these different colors all knitted. She did, she was fabulous. And she would walk around with a like her like a cane and she would, to keep time and she would always be like, teeth, everybody, teeth. So, because if you just showed your teeth, it looked like you were having a nice time. But she was lovely and she was always great to me. And I used to do a lot of extra, like I used to help her teach and do a lot of extra classes and stuff. And then one day I didn't go in and my friend had gone in and unfortunately my friend had found her passed away.
your
And
friend
it was
found her.
yeah, I was supposed to be with her to like because we used to go up and have tea in the morning before we went to class.
Oh no.
But I decided I wasn't going that day. And then she was there. Like my friend went and she had passed.
Oh, that's
It's,
that's
there's very sad. It was very sad. She was quite an institution in the town too. So then I went to somebody else who I just didn't like, and it was I think I was probably tied to grief and all of that stuff.
so yeah, it's amazing. Isn't it amazing? It's like corridors when you're a kid, isn't it? And
Mhm.
depending on which one you go down, it's what is that machine you used to play or people used to play where you hit the thing and the ball can go different.
Pinball or
Yeah,
pinball,
it's like
pinball.
pinball. And if something
Hmm.
pushes you this way and you don't go the way you were going, your life could be totally different.
It's funny, it's true. I really had this attitude when I was in my late teens that you couldn't make a wrong choice because you could always change your mind. And it wasn't until I was somewhere in my mid 30s, early 40s, I went, oh, you really can't sometimes change your mind. Sometimes those decisions actually affect you for the rest of your life,
But
you know?
see, I kind of every single thing in my body and my brain screams out when I hear that. And then what I think is, no, but I can start from scratch right here where I am, as long as I've got two arms, two legs, and
Right,
then I can
right.
change my mind in another direction.
Right, right. But yes, but it definitely has like there are definitely ramifications for choices that sometimes you have no control over or
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So,
you
but
can't
I'm a
undo it.
big believer in taking the opportunities to say yes to joy, step into a moment. Um, I've spent lots of years where I didn't do that, and I feel it's very important to remind yourself to do that.
Yeah.
Um, moved a lot. That's part of that.
Well, I think moving a lot is becomes who you are. Because I think moving a lot, every single time you move, you're a different person. You become a different person. Like I'm nowhere near like any of the Americans I know that are like Americans growing up and living in America their whole life.
Mhm.
I'm like an entirely different person. I'm incapable of even understanding the way they think. And I'm incapable of understanding the way British people think. And I'm sure you feel the same, being raised one place and living another place.
Well, I was born in London, um, south of the river. Um, so I was born in Clapham, to my Jamaican parents, and then we went back to Jamaica, and I lived there till I was 3, 4 years old, somewhere around there. And then we went back to England, and I lived in Stafford, and then we went to Wolverhampton, and then when I was in my mid-teens, we moved to the suburbs of Chicago.
Did you miss England when you got to
Yes,
America?
yes. What's funny is I remember very clearly missing Jamaica as a little child.
Yeah.
Um, because I moved from Jamaica to this very um, it wasn't a very diverse area at the time. I don't know what it's like now, but it definitely at the time, that area that I lived in was not diverse at all. And we just kind of, I felt like we stuck out, but I don't know how the rest of my family felt. Um, and then when I came to America, it was at that pivotal moment where you're starting to individuate as a teenager.
Yeah.
So
That's hard.
it was kind of nice because I kind of got to reimagine myself. So all of the angst and turmoil of like early teens got left behind in the UK. And I
Yeah.
got to just kind of bring along any friends that I really wanted to bring along.
And become the
Um,
cool Brit. I bet you were the cool Brit.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I had
Milk
different
that
clothes.
accent for
Listen to all the music. Nobody knew what it was, and
yeah.
everybody wanted to go to the record store with me. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It
Yeah,
was
I can
fun.
see that. I can
Again,
see
it was nice kind of becoming a slightly bigger fish for, having
yeah.
something unique to offer. So yeah.
And the moving, I remember because we would spend summers in Rome and we would spend winters in Fresno, California. Quite a difference, right?
Yes, I would think so.
And
Yeah.
and because Rome was like all glamorous, my father knew all these like film stars and photographers and directors, and they with long nights on the balcony and smoking
Hmm.
and drinking. It was just glamour. And we'd go to Fresno. And I remember one year when started getting too expensive. I think I was like 10, I think, and packing my bag to go to Rome. I was like, when are we off? And they were like, we're
Right.
not going this year. And I literally I was like on strike, sat on my suitcase packed. I am going one way or the
Devastated. Right. Devastated.
other.
I mean, I have to say, like, my parents would send me to go spend several weeks in the summertime with my grandparents who also emigrated to England in the late 70s. So I spent a lot of time with them, and my grandfather would take me to museums, and
Oh,
so like so for me, London was always like a bit of a like mecca, and my grandfather was really into playing Gilbert and Sullivan and opera and stuff like that. Like so I had that.
yeah,
That was really important to me.
that's magical.
Yeah.
That's ma
And
and London's still magical. In those days, it must have been amazing.
well, I don't know, it smelt a lot worse. And
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
it was a little smellier. Um, but I mean, as a in my late teeny age, like that from about 11, 10, probably actually 10 and a half till I left at 16 and a half. Um, my cousin and I'd go down. She lived in just outside London. Her mom had a place, a travel agency in London, and we would go in and we'd just run all over London. We would just go off. We would be like off. Oh, we're going down to the ice rink. We're going shopping here. We're going down to this. We're just going to the market on Portobello Road. She had a place on Portobello Road, my
Portobello
aunt.
Road, I would go
Hmm.
tomorrow.
And so we would just go and like down the market and like hop in all the like junk stores and like stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go in search of chocolate.
there is something special because we were always by the Camden Lock,
Oh
and
yeah. I went
there's
to drama
just
school near there. Yeah.
oh my God. See, you had the childhood that like I thought I deserved. I was
I don't
like,
know. There's always upsides and downsides to all of
yeah,
them,
yeah.
right?
I mean, but I did get to go when I was older, and but it's amazing. London is such a huge place, and you take it for granted, right? I had a friend come from America to stay with me, and they were like shocked at how many people from all over the world you see at every moment. And we literally right outside. We're like a tiny train ride outside, and you think you're in the
Hmm.
same city. Everyone says it's the same city. You've just got a little commute now. And I had a conversation. I was looking for a personal trainer in this area, and I got a guy from London. Oh my God. You couldn't get me off the phone with this guy. It was like my
Yeah.
people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. I think city people see city people. When you're a city person, it's in your blood.
I think it's a city person, maybe artistic people.
Yeah.
Um, I have a friend who refers to people who aren't in or don't have a creative like background, because you can be doing a real job and still be like a creative person, right? But there are civilians, some people who just don't have like that imagination. And no, we need those people, right? Because yeah, so
Yeah, someone's got to wear the suits.
well, but also like I just think like it's important for people to like for us to have a diversity of thinking, right, in the world. So if we're all being philosophical and artistic, that's not a lot of shit getting done. It's just a
Yeah.
lot of like what I do.
Well, no, but you know what? It's interesting because I was listening to somebody on APAC yesterday, and
Mm,
it's interesting because I had a moment. They were talking about marketing and the business is changing and you have to move with the business. And I'm a big believer. I've said from the beginning, I'm not going to bring it up now because I'll be eaten alive if people watch these, but I've said from the beginning, you can't just sit and bemoan changes. Yes, you stand up for things, but you have to live in the world you live in, right? And so I want to keep an open mind about things. I cannot stand, no, I'll never think a robot can narrate a book or, but they were talking about digital marketing and I said, my feeling was, I said, but this is like the whole job is being a marketer. Like I look up people, if somebody tries to friend you on Facebook and their profile says digital marketer. And I'm like, ooh, it's like,
hmm
I have nothing against digital marketers, just like I have nothing against influencers, but I don't fancy being one. I want to be an audiobook narrator. And at which point in all this digital marketing career am I going to
hmm
find the 6 hours a day to stand in the booth?
Right, right, right. Like I know it's it's like this it's a fine line. You have to do just enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, people, you get both ends of it. Like you have to be super authentic, and yet you have to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, which to me isn't authentic at all,
And well, they don't
right?
really want you to be
So,
authentic, though. Have you ever tried to be actually authentic? The minute you do, they'll say, be the real you. And you go, okay, here's the real me. And they'll go, no, 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 the other you. You know what
The
I
one
mean?
that we've pre-stamped and approved of. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, people's perceptions. I mean, I think that's kind of one of the things that I've always battled with. And part of the reason I feel like I have to do a certain level of marketing is because people have concepts. They hear, oh, I'm from Jamaica. They have assumptions of what that is. They aren't curious. They don't want to ask me questions about what, like, oh, like, but both my parents are from Jamaica. I often get like, oh, is your mom this and your dad that? No, both my parents are from Jamaica. So, and long term, like hundreds of years, not like moved in the 60s, like
Yeah.
been there for forever. But I think it's got so much to do with perception. People often see the world from how they perceive it and then assign things to you from their own perception. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because they're taking, what is it? It's not the amygdala. I've been narrating too long today, so I'm not going to be able to pull the word, but it's the something activating system. Whereas
Oh,
um
you're mirroring that, like that idea of
no,
mirroring.
that like your brain is incapable. If you were able to take in every single thing happening, you'd go crazy. So your
Right.
reticular activating system, I think it's called. So your brain has
Oh,
to
okay.
filter out a lot of information every day. So it learns shortcuts because your brain is smart, right? So it learns shortcuts to only take in the information that it needs, it's really necessary.
Mm,
So that's why a lot of people but the problem is our brains weren't meant to be dealing with social media and the influx of digital
right.
information. So we're learning shortcuts, but we're being trained to learn the shortcuts that we're being manipulated supposedly to learn by the digital whatever, they're
I think people give it too much, like assert too much power over it because it's just it's just a hyper rational thought. I just saw something on a podcast about how like AI can, if it, I think it was some big corporation was using it to analyze resumes. And so it would compare each resume to see who the best were. So they would go, oh, this person's done this person's done that. So it would like filter out, like it would organize people in, the women got automatically put lower. And then also, if you happen to mention the name Thomas, because it was mentioned, it was a more popular name. And so more resumes had the name Thomas in them. All the Thomases rose to the top.
yeah,
So like it's one of those things where you're like we give like these algorithms or whatever all this power and they're really just hyper logical math
yeah.
equations. And I don't know this because I'll be honest, I have a 19-year-old son and there's part of me who like thinks that this generation is going to like save the world like because they're so much more informed than we were at that
Yeah.
age and so
Smart.
like passionate, very smart. And there's a whole section of the ones that show up in my living room anyway, who are very like introspective and like thoughtful about the world and dynamic. But there's also some of some of that generation who, they don't want to talk. Like a, I was getting my pre-check for my TSA pre-check done today, went into the place and the guy just was like, oh gosh, I have to talk to this lady. And after about 5 minutes, I managed to get him to like lighten up and have a good time.
But it,
But
it
it was
feels
funny. It's like,
dehumanizing, though, doesn't it? I was in the
right,
gym and I had one of like a 19-year-old guy. I made like a self-deprecatory joke on my way out. He literally, I was not
was
in the room.
mortified for you.
No eye
No?
contact. I was not
Yeah.
there. I did not exist. It really shook me, like really
Yeah.
shook me.
Yeah. But like, I think that's why there was somebody who put it through an AI. That's what I'm saying, is there's this depersonalization for some of that community, like that,
Well,
that
it
generation
was
under
an
30.
old guy that put it through AI, not a
Well,
young. It was,
then,
you see what, it was
yeah.
another writer that
Uh,
put it through AI. Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah. Going
Yeah.
out, and it was a young author, a young female author.
Oh, stuff. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. It just gets worse.
Rather than call her up and go, hey, you know what? I love your work. I
Right.
really want to learn
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah.
God
Sold
forbid.
it to the New York Times, an article accusing her of doing. Yeah. I mean, I'm not courting. I
Oh, that's
turn off the
crazy.
comments on these videos anyways.
Oh, I've just never even heard of it. I have to say, I try to kind of I it's part of that idea of just not of trying to find the joy in life is I felt like back when I only had to respond to my voicemails or my my recording machine, my voice message machine once a day or twice a day. My life was less stressful.
Yeah.
Um, I don't I try to, and with work, I try to get back to everybody within a very short period of time because I think that's important. But unfortunately, that leaves many of my friends like, I left you a message like a week ago. I'm like, oh yeah, you're on my list. Sorry,
But
but
but the not being an audience to everyone's life, I find. I tuned out. I only post, but I really don't read, except for that one day, which was a mistake. I don't read because that night I was like having dreams that like, but I have to say, as annoyed as I was about the whole digital thing, now I have to become a marketer. I did immediate. I think it's our job to catch ourselves. I did immediately think, why am I feeling resistance? This means it's something that I need to learn because I
yeah.
don't want it to be my whole job. But the minute you feel like absolutely against something, maybe you need to learn.
Well, it can be such a great connector, right? And it can be such a great educator. It really, it can, it has a lot of positives. And I think if you can stay away from the negative side, it's kind of
Yeah.
like there's, yeah, it's like all of life. If you're consumed by anything completely, then it's going to destroy you. Like,
Yeah.
and it could be anything. Could even be something like if I had become that ballerina and I was just consumed with just doing ballet all the time, then that's not necessarily healthy either, you
You
know.
know, there's a ballerina podcast. There's a
Oh no, I
podcast by
didn't
this
know.
she was in the Russian ballet school and she talks about like ballerinas and how and I literally listen to her and pretend I'm a ballerina and
Oh,
working on my ballerina minds.
you know what? You know what? You know what? When I after I had my son, I got this postcard through the mail in the mail, and it said ballet style workout, come to this place. And I was like, what? And I have to tell you, even now, even though it's a little rough on my wrist because it's not completely just ballet style workout, I still try to do it because it's like your body is already trained in it. Like your
What was it?
body,
Was
your
it just
muscles.
bar work or something? What was
But
it?
it's a bar. It's a bar. I well, it's bar method is what I went to, which was started by a woman who was a ballerina. But yeah, so it's like so my body just automatically it trains quicker to that. Um, and yeah, I really. But then I tried to do a ballet class and it nearly killed me
I want to
because
be a dancer.
in my brain, I was like, you can do that. You know exactly what she's saying.
And then
But
you
my
hurt
body's like,
yourself. Yeah. But do you not ever feel like I always think there's so many videos. Maybe I could just learn on video and be a dancer in my own mind. I
I
don't
think
care if
so.
anybody
I
sees
think
me.
so. Well, I have a little bar. I have a folded up bar in my garage where I do my stretches and I do my plies and I do the whole thing.
I want
I
it and
do.
pink leggings. You got to have pink
The
leggings.
pig, the pig. I remember we used to have black leotard and pink tights,
Yes.
and then we could use any color and leg warmers we wanted.
Leg warmers, that was it. I wore the leg
Leg
warmers
warmers.
to school over
Oh,
jeans.
they were so trendy back in the early 80s. They were. Do you ever have multicolored ones? I had some multicolored ones, some
Ooh.
stripy.
Oh, you were one of
They're
those
cool.
girls.
I was. I was also one of those girls that used to have like my hair wasn't too dissimilar to this, except it was much thicker. And I would put like those huge like bows
Oh.
like, oh my gosh, desperately seeking somebody. I don't know what was going on there.
But I think it was the fashion was brave. I had the ponytail on the side of the head.
Oh yes, 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 we did that one too. It's so funny. It was just, yeah, I, yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the moment, the most exciting moment for you. And it can be audiobooks, it can be acting, a moment where you felt, oh my gosh, a little tingle of the dream, like getting a book or landing an audition or something. Tell me about the most exciting moment.
You know, I can tell you about a moment that made a huge impression on me as to um, my career, or just just a huge impression as far as like I am an actor and I am acting, and that felt like magnificent.
Yeah, that moment,
Um,
that right there, that's what I
that
want to hear
moment,
about.
that moment.
Bring
Okay, I'm
us
going to
to
plug
it.
in
Make
my
us feel like
iPad.
we're there with you.
Okay, I was auditioning for a play at the Magic Theater in San Francisco. And I had moved to San Francisco so I could do plays at the Magic Theater because I graduated college and went to San Francisco, like visiting a boy, of course. And then I was like, yeah, no, that didn't work out. Um, I should have stayed in Chicago, but San Francisco, and I went to the Magic Theater and I saw this play with a guy called Rod Knapp, who ended up being a coach of mine later down the road because I moved to San Francisco. And it was written by Cintra Wilson. And I just remember being blown away by this play and getting on a bus and saying to my friend Corinna, who had traveled with me, I said, this is the theater I want to do. This is what I want to do right here. And she was like, yeah, it was really good. And of course, there was a lunar eclipse that day, and I'd never seen one. So I was like, what am I watching? And so there's a lunar eclipse as we're driving on the bus. I think it was a Geary bus back to wherever it was we were staying. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a sign.
You're
Anyway,
having a
I'm,
life-changing
I'm,
moment. Your friend is like, yeah, it
I
was
am.
okay.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. And so I had this big thing. So then I moved to San Francisco, and then I moved away from San Francisco, and then I came back to San Francisco. And in middle there, I went to London for drama school and blah 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 blah. And I was back in San Francisco. I'd been working pretty regularly as an actress, and worked at the Berkeley Rep. I'd worked at a bunch of small theaters around, and I was starting to get, known a little bit. And I was really enjoying the work. And then I was doing this audition. And the British contingency in San Francisco at the time was fairly limited. So there wasn't loads of British actors there, but there was a handful. And I remember going for a callback and ending up being paired up with a friend of mine, Francesca Faradani. And I went on stage and you know, we read this scene together. And two things that stuck out for me from that. Firstly, partly because she's phenomenal, right? She's a phenomenal actress. But I was so like just we were just locked in. Like it was just like that. There are times when you do scenes with people and you just feel like you are there, they are there, you're completely
Like
together on this in this
Meisner.
like
Like,
it's just magic, right?
yeah,
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 total Meisner, just total like every fiber is just zzz. It was brilliant, right? It was just this great thing.
yeah.
And then the other thing was we were both supposed to have Welsh accents. And afterwards we came out and we were like, that was good. And she's like, yeah, that was really good. Like, good, yeah. And so we were like totally psyched about it. And then I said, but the accent. And she goes, oh, I went all over the UK. And I'm like, me too. I was following. Like we were all over the UK with that accent because Welsh was not one we knew very well at that time. And so that was kind of funny. And that was the not so great moment. But yeah, I think that that moment, like I remember looking at her in that scene. I can remember it to this day, just being like just totally locked in with her. And we both got cast and we had a great time and it was a great show. And we both got very good at Welsh. And
Can I say something though? Do you know what strikes me about that is, and I've asked this question a few times before to people, and the answer, the easy answer would be when I found out that I got this book, when I was awarded this award. But it
yeah, yeah.
never is. It's always when I reached this level of acting, when I had this magical moment in the process. We don't, I don't know about you, but we forget that, don't we? Because we're thinking about how we're going
Yeah,
to get the
yeah.
book and the award, but we're like, those are the times, aren't they? The moments in
Yeah,
the
I mean,
booth and
it's the moments in the work. Like I remember I was doing one of my favorite books I've ever done is called The Swan's Nest. And that book so much. But it has a Jamaican tie-in, right? And there is a character who I got to one of the big scenes for that character because it's a smaller character, even though I did the whole book, that particular character is a smaller character. And I did this scene and I was being directed by the woman from Hachette at the time, lovely producer, um, Melanie Schmidt from
oh, I
Hachette.
love her.
And
She's so
she's so
nice.
great. She's a doll. And I got to the end of the chapter and I was like, I need a minute. And she said, you all right? I said, that could have been my great great grandmother. Like it was just like this thing where in the middle of this thing, I was like, oh, like it was like this connection to this great ancestral like memory. It was bizarre and like fantastic. But I feel like there is a moment in every single book I
There
do
is. There is.
that you're like, oh, zing, that was the thing. That's the thing. That's the reason I'm doing this book.
Yeah.
Um,
Even the ones you
I
think aren't gonna, and Michael says this. Yeah, Michael, exactly. Love those moments in the theater. I think that's it's our shared search for that moment. And even I've got to tell you, even the nonfiction ones that I've taken because I needed the money, and I've like learned life-changing lessons. Like
yeah,
ones that I thought there's no way I would, and it turns out to be the book you needed it. And then the other thing is the challenge, we all know this as actors, if you've, especially if you've acted before you started narrating, the challenge of holding the piece in safe hands, but being vulnerable enough to, because like I just finished a book before this one, where it's like, oh my God, how am I not going to bawl my eyes out? It's like being the character and being vulnerable enough to hold that character, but you have to hold them in a safe, you have to, you're a
Yeah,
safe
you
receptacle so that the person can listen and they know they're safe and they can experience it through
right.
you.
Right, because you're also the narrator, right?
Yes.
You're not just the characters. You are
Yes.
the narrator
The
also.
storyteller.
It's like you're what do they call that when you chat you're it's like you're channeling out this
Yes.
character, but then you're able to go, now did you hear that?
And you have
Did
to
you
be
see
in
that?
control, but you have to
Right.
also let
But
go of control so that you
right,
don't get in the way of
right.
the character's vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's like a dance, isn't it? And I know I sound like I'm being
It
like
totally is.
this, but
No,
it's
it
a
sounds so
challenge.
artsy, but it totally is a real thing.
Yeah.
I I think it's really funny. I was talking about this with another friend. Was like people go, oh well, you're narrating, just reading a book. Oh, acting's so easy. You're just, showing up and saying lines. Well, to a degree, there is a quality to that, but you also are like one of the most vulnerable. It's one of the most vulnerable professions, right? Because what people don't maybe necessarily understand, even in audiobooks, even doing nonfiction, there's a certain amount of your soul that has to come to the surface in order to engage with another human that way, across earphones, across an audience distance.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people think that actors do it because they're braggadocious or they're pompous or they want attention.
It has to be
My
the
my
opposite. We have to get
overwhelming
completely out of it.
my personal experience is I've never known an actor who is not a very like thoughtful, quiet, introspective, vulnerable human being. We're just able to pretend in the way that other people don't necessarily have access to. But you have to know, you have to recognize emotion and um, subtext and nuance and all of these things. You have to be a
And
very
isn't
vigilant
it
human.
precious? It's precious, isn't
It's
it? Because
very
the writer
precious.
it's important to them, whether it's important, even the nonfiction ones. It's something that was deep in their heart, important to them. And you're being trusted with this thing that they held dear, and you're being trusted to share it with somebody in a way that's going to be
Right,
taken exactly the way the author wanted it given.
right. I think that the other thing that's really interesting is I don't know about you, but when I get a book, sometimes I'll sit there and go, why did they pick me? Like, like sometimes you're like, well, sometimes you get the audition and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, this is my book and I'm going for it, right? And sometimes you get in, you're like, oh, this is fun, and you do the audition and you're like, that was a fun audition. But then you get the book and you're like, I'm not sure why me over somebody else. Like, but grateful for the work, right? But then you crack open my iPad and I start reading the book. And then you find the reason that the author wanted you or the casting person wanted you. And you go, oh, that's my hook in, right? That's my in on the understanding of this book. And I think that that's really important in my process to find that before I can even really start um, thinking about all the tone and all of the characters and all of that stuff. I have to figure out why it is I am chosen, even if it's lightning in a bottle. Like there has to be something that I have to hook into with that book in order to find, like, not to sound too pompous and weird, but like the sacred thing why I get to be the narrator. I get to be the voice of the author, right?
But speaking of that,
Hmm.
tell me about a character, if you can pick one, of all the characters you've done, either on stage or in a book. that you love the most?
Well, I really loved Susie from Waiting from the Water's Edge, which was with Francesca, that audition I just explained to you. But I think of all the characters I've ever played, books and everything, I would think Rose from Dancing at Lunasa, because I don't know if you're familiar with it. She's developmentally disabled, but she falls in love with someone, and people are just appalled that this slightly um, uh, less sophisticated woman could have that, and there's this assumption that she's been taken advantage of. But she doesn't talk that much through the play. Like, she's there and she has a couple scenes, but it's mostly people talking about her, right? And but she's just like this. She's like this. A lot of people make a lot of assumptions of her, but they don't really know her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
how I felt when I approached it. And I think that I resonate with her because I think that from many years of my life, I have felt, and still do from time to time, feel very much like seen but not heard, which is a very, like that Victorian idea that children should be seen but not heard means I'm very presentable, but not necessarily listened to. And I think that sometimes, um, maybe that's why I wanted to be a performer. Maybe that's because I wanted to be able to express emotions more, or whatever that is. Um, but
That surprises me because everything about you, my impression has always been that you're okay, well, my mother didn't mean it as a compliment, but I meant it as a compliment, that you're a strong character.
oh, I've had people tell me that I like and friends tell me that I was formidable, which is like
Yeah, like you're
I've never thought of it like that. But I will say that my grandmother um used to say this thing, which she'd go, "You come from a long line of bloody-minded women," which in the UK and Jamaica, bloody-minded means you're strong-headed or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
belligerent of some sort. So um I think I have that just kind of naturally in me. But yeah, like I love Rose because I think that she was able to see love and joy, and like my favorite quote from that is, "I love you more than chocolate biscuits." Right? Like
That pretty
she
much says it all.
and I'm just like, it's such a pure, gentle sweetness to that, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
I
yeah.
love that. Oh, I love that. Okay. Yeah, I do love it. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna hit you with, you didn't think the time would go this fast, huh? I'm gonna hit you with the last question for anyone
Woo!
that's watching this on YouTube in 300 years. If
Mm.
they walked away from this conversation with nothing else, what last piece of wisdom or advice would you like to leave them with?
I think find a way to be enough in the world to ask the curious question, even when you're in pain or hurt. That leads to more connection rather than disconnection. And in the long run, I think that's all we really want is connection, right? So rather than make assumptions, like relationships are what's important in life. And so rather than make assumptions about what somebody means or what somebody thinks or whatever, see, and it takes two to tango, right? But see if your curiosity can lead to um more understanding and don't make assumptions as to what someone intends or thinks, because you really don't know. Because we really don't know. Like, we just don't. And that was something I didn't understand when I was younger. I wish somebody had told me that.
Yeah. What do they
Yeah.
say? You have to walk a mile in another man's shoes.
Yeah, but you really don't understand what that means, right? When you're young.
Yeah.
I mean, you can philosophically understand it, but yeah. But it happens to us all when we're old. We see somebody behave a certain way or react a certain way. And we don't know why. We don't know why.
And
Unless you
that's
ask, unless you ask,
it,
how are you feeling? What's happening for you? What's going on? And they might say, I'm absolutely terrified right now. Like, they might
but
say, oh, I'm completely joyful right now. You just don't know.
but human connection is it's quite I find that I have to force myself because I'm very comfortable in my Zoom and social media world and recording from home. And I used to, when I would walk to the tube to work in London, I would imagine what it felt like being in the person in front of me in their body, how they
Oh, that's kind
walked,
of,
how they
yeah,
moved. I
yeah.
would literally try to imagine how their body felt, how it felt to move, what they were thinking, what their life
That
might
is
be.
such an actor thing,
I
Daniela.
did, I did. It's a bit creepy. I used to do it all the time, and I thought everyone did it. And then somebody was like, "No." But
That's
the thing,
such an actor thing, though. I just think
it,
that that's a thing that a lot of actors are like, oh, look, they lead with their nose. And
yeah.
I
And
look at
and
it
how does
like,
it feel like? And I wonder what he had for breakfast. And I wonder he's
yeah.
probably very upset. He looks upset. He's probably having you think, and I bet writers
Hmm.
do it too, thinking
Uh-huh.
stories. But the thing is, I noticed when I went on that APAC call yesterday. I've developed all these assumptions just looking at group posts on Facebook and oh, people are all like this and everyone's against AI, everyone's against this. Everyone what? Who is everyone? Do I know everyone? When is the last time I had coffee with everyone? Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Everyone
right,
isn't a
right.
human being. You have to like see human beings sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah. And it takes practice, and doing it more is really important.
yeah.
Like, I raised a kid in LA, so I spend a lot of time in the car listening to audiobooks, and like literally, I would take my kid to swim, drop them off, and sit in the car listening to an audiobook, and then drive. There was no human interaction for me. And now that he's older and gone out into the world, I actively practice being out in the world because I found more joy and more appreciation of life. Like that moment when I'm walking around my neighborhood and this ancient couple who, like, ancient, like, I don't even know how they're walking. Like, they're ancient. They walk with walking sticks along the, like, and they walk every single day, no matter
Yeah,
what.
I've
He's
got one like that in
hugely
the
tall.
park.
He's like 6'3" and
Yeah.
she's 5 foot. Like,
I've got
so
one
they're
like that.
like,
900 years old. How the hell are you beating my
right.
time and I'm seeing you back around?
And and I come and when I'm walking, like, they say hello and you're like, hello, and you see them. And then he noticed my son hadn't was like had to go to the doctor and wasn't feeling well. And he said to me, is he all right? And I just thought, oh wow. He knows that that's me he sees walking around the neighborhood because he never sees me outside my own house usually. But those are the connections, like knowing, like telling your neighbor you like her flowers, like,
It's
like
important,
whatever it is.
like knowing the person that serves you coffee. When I used to go get coffee, there's a meme, and it's so true about birds, but it's true about people as well. And I'll never forget this meme. It was an old guy in bed, like in his sick bed or whatever, and all the pigeons, the window was open, and his bed's covered with pigeons. And one of them's like, "We were worried about you. We didn't see you in the park today." But
Yeah,
I
that's
never
so
forgot
nice.
that. It's You
Yeah.
want someone to notice that you're here. Even if you're an introvert, you
But
want
that's why
someone.
we are all here.
Yeah.
That's the thing though, isn't it? And that's what books are for, and like that's what art is for, is to help us recognize ourselves and others in the
But
world,
it's not
understand that,
enough. It's not enough. You've got
right?
to have that small human daily contact. Because if I died, I mean, not being morbid, but my husband's not on social media. So literally, I'll just
Right.
disappear. He wouldn't have a clue. You know what I mean? So all this isn't good enough. I want someone to notice I'm not in the park. You want
Yeah.
someone to notice you didn't go get your coffee today. I think
Not
the
to
little
take a
world.
totally morbid like turn, there was a documentary I watched maybe 10 years ago about a woman in London who died in her apartment and
Yeah, I
nobody
remember her.
noticed.
Yeah,
And I remember watching that and just weeping like for this poor woman. But yeah, so
yeah.
I'll come hunting for you in London if I don't hear from you
Thank
for more
you.
than a week.
Thank
And
you. Yes.
I'll freak out your husband. He'll be like, "What are you
I
doing?"
shouldn't probably say this because here's me also vowing to stay off social media.
Yeah, but we have other means. There are things called letters, which I like to write.
Yeah.
And I write letters and I um, send packages and I phone people. And I always apologize when they answer. So sorry to call, but I like doing this better than
I don't
texting.
understand. I had somebody tell me people don't make phone calls anymore. Is that true?
I don't know because truthfully, like I was texting my son. Sorry to bring him up again, but I'm texting the 19-year-old
We
and I'm
love your
like,
son. I
"Where
love
are
your
you?
son.
Where are you? What are you doing?" No response. No response. No response. And then I finally he responds, and then I was like, I said to him when I saw him, "Well, you got to respond." He goes, "Just call me." I was like, "I'm allowed to do that?" And he goes, "Yeah, I don't look at texts." And I was like,
See, your son, I think your son is special though, because I called a trainer and like he was like, I'm not being funny, but
"Is you're
people don't
weird for
do
calling?"
that. It's
No,
like,
it's a thing. It's a thing, but I think maybe because my kid's on a certain age group, they are now being like, they want a dumb phone. They want to be called on the phone. They don't answer text. They don't look at the reels you send. Like, I said to my son, "Oh, did you see that comedy thing I sent you?" And he's like, "I don't look at reels that you send me." It's like, oh,
well, reels, I'm trying to stop the reels too. I'm trying to stop. I started talking in meme and I thought, oh, you need to back away from this.
I never understood the meme thing. That's so
Except for
like,
Casey Dressler. If you want to look at any reels, look up Casey Dressler.
oh gosh, okay.
Oh my God, she is the fun. She's created her whole own world. She's an actress and a comedian, and I can
Oh,
just
cool.
watch her for a million years. It's like the old
Oh,
days, like
that's
Carol
great.
Burnett. Like,
Ah, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah, it is. Okay,
There are a couple performers like that are really like on point.
a few people, yeah, it's just like, yeah, it takes you out of the world, and it's fun.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much,
Thank
Danielle. It
you,
was such a
Nicola. Thank
treat.
you for spending the time. Thank you for sending me at just the right moment pictures of colored front door knockers and stylish fur coats and gowns. And I think we all need a friend that sends you a photo of the perfect pair of shoes or lipstick just when you need it. I think we all need that. And this call was pure joy. So thank you very much. And thank you to everyone, and thank you to everyone watching on YouTube for the next 1,000 years. Mwah!
Mwah.
Bye. Bye, Nick.
Bye.
Bye.